10 years ago tomorrow, Jamie Vardy became a Leicester player, and his continuing influence has been demonstrated over the last couple of games. I just wonder where you see him in terms of Leicester City greats and Premier League greats, what he's given to this club and to the division since he's been here.
Well, I think he's a real icon of Leicester and of the league. I think his journey coming into to professional football at 25 and scoring your first Premier League goal at 27, and then to go on and score the goals that he has and have the impact that he has. He truly is such a unique player. We've seen it before with other players like Ian Wright coming through and playing at the highest level and top strikers. But Jamie's story, like you say, from playing in the qualification games and the FA Cup to going on and winning the FA Cup to winning the Premier League to playing in Champions League, European football. He really is a great of this football club. But I also think of the Premier League. You put him up there with the top strikers. And thankfully, you've seen him in his last few games that he's now getting his fitness. Unfortunately for us, he hasn't been able to play as much as we would have liked this season. But you see the impact that he would have had on our team because the pace is still there, his cuteness, his cleverness, and his bravery is still very much there. So, clearly a great signing for the club back then from Nigel and the team of people behind that took him in. And £1 million is an absolute bargain when you look 10 years later.
You praised James Maddison after another brilliant performance against Watford. What do you think he's added to his game and I guess his personality this season? Because like you say, the numbers are quite frightening actually, and that's what I remember him telling us about sort of 12 months ago, that he's kind of obsessed with improving his numbers, and it seems to have worked. Yeah,
well that's day-to-day hard work. I think the turning point for James, he came to probably the very first time in his young life as a player where he felt vulnerable. Early in the season, he not at the level that he wanted to be, and I remember clearly a game against Brighton where, for him and for me, and knowing the level that he can be at, he just wasn't himself. And that was the game that he's spoken about before, or the time when we sat down and stripped back his game. And just going back to the fundamentals of football and what is important in that, in terms of running and pressing and aggression, because once you have all of that in your game, then the other attacking stuff will just follow sync. So that's what he concentrated on, focusing hard on his training, on his work, and then from that, the harder you work, it's the confidence comes into your game, and when you're confident, you have a greater chance to succeed. And so I think that was a real turning point for him, and it's not easy to accept that. Lots of players would have been turning around blaming everyone, but and that's why. And what I love about James is he's a very honest player. Of course, he has personality, but every top player has that. You have to have that personality to go into any environment, home or away, and show your quality. But he also showed that he had great courage, because he had to be vulnerable in that moment, and he shone the torch in on himself and what he needed to do. And he always knows here he has an environment where we will support him in that. And then he's worked ever so hard to get back to the level. And like you say, with 2 games to go, he's posted great numbers in terms of goals, assists, but also making out and doing his work for the team, and that's equally important.
Team news-wise, how are you
probably just 1 or 2 from the weekend. We'll wait and see tomorrow where they're at. Like so, Yuri obviously had a clash of his knee. Hamza's still out. Papi Mendy should be back in. Obviously we had to take him off with illness in the game. And we'll see how Ricardo Pereira is back training, and we'll see if he's available.
Is it another opportunity to let Danny Ward have another game and see if he can impress? And obviously he's had to wait a long time. Is it another chance for him?
Yeah, no, Casper will play. I've said the other day that the plan was for Casper to play in the final 2 games. Unfortunately, Danny couldn't play in the Norwich game, but I think he proved the other day that he's an outstanding keeper. The things he had to do in the game, his stature in the and the goal and the game was excellent. So no, but Casper will play. I've told him he'll be playing in Chelsea and Southampton. I'm a big admirer of Chelsea and the team and the work that Thomas has done there. I would actually go as far as saying they're the best team that we've played. When we played them earlier on in the season, when they're top of their game, I thought they were outstanding. And from that moment, or not long after that moment, they've lost some players. I've said it before, even squads like Chelsea, you need your top players available. And over the course of the time when they've had players out, key players that makes their systems function to the highest level. And then obviously the distractions going on behind the scenes, then of course that's always a challenge. But what I do know is they've got an outstanding manager who's done a fantastic job since he's been in there. They've got a group of really, really good players, top talents. I see them again losing in the final, but there's so much courage because they keep getting there. And you'd rather be in there fighting and losing finals. Of course, you want to win, but you'd rather be in there, arriving there, knowing that it's going to drop you away, and you're going to win in the future. So a top team, top players, and again, they're in the Champions League for next season, and I expect them to be up there challenging again next year.